Okay, welcome back to Death Before Booze. Why do I always sing it? It's like we have a jingle, even though we have a jingle. And I can't
We
like,
we've had this discussion and
I
we're
don't
both
know.
like,
Okay,
oh
well,
no.
here, let's start again. Welcome back to Death
Welcome
Before
back.
Booze, the podcast where we discuss true crime and paranormal bullshit. I am Sam. Hi, Jen.
I am Jen.
Yeah, I think I like
Hi,
that
Sam.
intro better. I'm gonna sing again next time, but like
Let's try to
I'm gonna
remember.
sing again anyway, but it's gonna be okay. All right, so this
We'll remember.
is our Halloween episode. Oh yeah, second Halloween. Woo woo woo. Oh my gosh, how
Yeah,
crazy is that?
this is crazy.
Okay, well
It's
this
very
year
crazy.
I have
I
Halloween
love it.
facts. You want to hear them? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
So, according to the Library of Congress, black and orange are the colors of Halloween because the ancient Celts believed black symbolized the death of summer and orange symbolized the fall harvest. I don't hate
that.
it. I don't hate
Okay.
it. That's a pretty good
I
one.
like that idea.
I mean, it's a little clinical,
I like
but
it.
I'll take it.
It
Okay, so Halloween falls on a full moon every 19 years. So all these slasher movies where like, Halloween with the full moon, they don't make sense anymore. I done fucked it up for you. You're welcome.
They don't make sense.
Yeah. Good job, Jason.
Got it.
Can't even count. Oh, you live at the bottom of the lake. Wait, is Jason the one who lives at the bottom of the lake?
He's not really Halloween. Yes, he's just the Friday the 13th.
What was that whole thing about how Halloween was on Friday the 13th this year? Did you see this? It was like all over TikTok and Instagrams. And they were like, people kept saying, okay, well, this is the first year in however many years that Halloween's going to be on Friday the 13th. And I'm like, at first I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, wait, did you just transpose the numbers? Like, did I miss the joke? I think I missed the joke if I have to ask, but I don't get it.
I just think it's dumb. So I didn't get the joke. I was like,
I mean, as long as it wasn't just me, I feel better. But like, I really, it like went right over my head. I'm like, okay.
There's a December 13th, Friday the 13th. So it's like Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. I'm so excited for that one.
I love it.
Okay. Sorry. Number 3. Initially, the Irish and the Scottish carved turnips as a way to remember deceased souls. And when they immigrated to the U.S., they realized that pumpkins were much easier to carve. And the rest, they say, is history.
And less scary looking.
Yo, they look like little shrunken heads.
A carved out turnip. They
oh my God.
terrifying.
I was going to cover
so I'm
what the
so
fuck
glad
is
that
his name?
changed.
Something Jack. Stubborn Jack, asshole Jack, stricken Jack. I don't know. But he was some dude who like fucked with the devil. And like that's where jack-o'-lanterns came from. Yeah, but it was too short. Okay. Well, now I kind of told you it anyway, so it's fine. We're so close.
There it is.
Number 4, though everyone associates Halloween with, quote, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, the original Washington Irving short story doesn't mention Halloween at all. It wasn't associated with Halloween until the Disney movie, The Headless Horseman, came out in 1949, where the connection is made.
Yes. Yep.
Crazy.
Huh. It is.
And then finally, here are the most popular Halloween candies for adults. And they're ranked in order.
Ooh.
So number 1 is M&M's, the originals. Number 2, I should have done this the other way. Oh well. Number 2 is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, but they don't tell you what the like. I would think it was the original and not the pumpkin, but I tend to like the Christmas trees best. Just saying.
Right. I like the original because I feel like the chocolate to peanut butter ratio is better.
That's why I like the Christmas trees. I think the chocolate to peanut, but I like a lot of peanut butter, so I think that's why that one's my favorite. I think Kenny likes the eggs the best for Easter. They are good.
Well, they're good.
Next is Kit Kats, then peanut butter M&Ms, Butterfingers, Snickers, Twix,
Butterfingers,
Milky Ways, Hershey's milk chocolate bars, and finally Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces made the list.
I like them on the friendly sundae, and that's about it.
I love them on like ice cream. Like that's the best. Or just kind of picking them. But like,
what were they using in ET? Were those Reese's Pieces or were those Skittles? I feel like they were Reese's Pieces, but I don't remember. I don't remember. It's been so long since I watched that movie. But yeah, and those are your 5 Halloween facts for this year. Happy Halloween.
5 Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Yep. Now, do I go first or do you go first? I go first.
You go first because I went first last time.
One of us is paying attention because I never do. So I went through a couple different topics considering this is our ultimate Halloween episode. I started with the origins, then I went to that weirdo Jack, and then I was gonna do Bobby Mackey's, but I landed on a fantastic, amazing, love this topic, so excited. So are you ready? Because I'm going to tell you all about Mothman.
Yes.
Mothman!
Yes! I love Mothman. I love Mothman.
Okay, so we're heading back to 1966, and we're in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. On November 12th, near the, quote, TNT area, or West Virginia Ordnance Works, and this is a site of a former World War II munitions plant. So this is where like they made like, TNT shit, explosives, all that good stuff. Right. So on the property, there are still domes where like the munitions were stored. And like all of the wooded areas that are there are probably where they like would test things. So like now the wood and the brush and the trees and shit have all grown. So there were 5 men digging graves in the area, not in the TNT area, but like around there in like some graveyard. And they saw something lifting off from the tree line that they said was definitely not a bird, but it had humanoid features. I have the hiccups. And the figure glided over their heads and sounded like a woman was screaming. Totally checks, right? Yeah, definitely. Can't wait. So on November 16th, so this is 4 days later, there are 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallet. Cool. And they're driving in the TNT area, which I don't really think you're supposed to be driving in the TNT area. Like, I think it's kind of government land. There's probably a fence. But you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to trespass. It's the 60s. Who cares? And they started to, it's around midnight, and they're driving. And they see on the side of the road a large, slender, black creature about 7 to 8 feet tall with glowing red eyes and wings folded against its back. Cool.
Okay.
Once they saw it, the creature spread its wings and took flight. So they freaked out and hauled ass. So they start running down Highway 62. They're going, probably upwards of 100 miles an hour. Like, they're like, holy shit, this thing's fucking following us. And the creature keeps up with their car until they hit the city limit. And it's just making this weird screaming, screeching noise the whole time. But then when they hit the city line, the creature just stopped following them. Mm-hmm. Not sure if it disappeared or flew away, but all of a sudden it's not there anymore. So they pull over and we all have to, debrief on what the fuck just happened. Totally cool, great, grand. And they decide it's a really big bird. And to prove to themselves that it's a really big bird, we turn around and go back to the TNT area because that makes sense.
That's a great idea. Like, you don't stop. Debrief once you get like 1,500 miles away.
You go the fuck home. You say, no, I'm not passing go. I'm not collecting $200. I'm going home. Well, they didn't like that plan because, they're stupid. So they turn around and they go back because they're like, dude, it was a huge bird. We're going to prove to ourselves it was a huge bird. How about you just leave the huge bird the fuck alone then? Because it didn't want to see you anyway. like scared the shit out of you.
So
but they get back there, and what is waiting for them in the middle of the road but Mothman?
It's waiting for them.
So they turn on their headlights, and the creature shot straight into the air but didn't move its wings at all. And then they couldn't see it anymore, so they said it just disappeared. Yeah.
The fact that it was waiting for them,
creepy as fuck,
is like, nope.
Yeah,
all kinds of nope.
So that same night, about an hour and a half, 2 hours before, at 10:30 at night, a man named Newell Partridge, who lived 90 miles north of Point Pleasant, was watching TV, and there was like a disturbance on the screen. So it started to get like really like and like blacking out and being all weird. And there was this weird static image crossing the screen as like the broadcast was going in and out. Then he hears a loud sound outside, and it's very high pitched and got higher and higher and higher over a few minute time span. And then it just stopped. So his dog Bandit's outside on the front porch and is howling and freaking out. And like, it's a hunting dog. So he's like, shit's out here. Let's go. So this makes Newell get off his ass and figure he's going to go investigate. So he goes out on the porch and he sees Bandit is still howling. So he flashes his light across the yard. And Newell describes what he saw as a large humanoid creature with glowing red eyes and wings staring back at him. I hate it. I want to say now that hard pass. We're cool. I'm done. I'm dead now.
Bring the dog inside.
I'm gonna curl up in the ball on the porch and just take me, because that's it. Well, Bandit chased it. So Bandit leaves the porch and starts chasing it. Newell runs back into his house to get his gun. And once he grabs his gun, he's like, I think I'm going to stay inside, though. So he goes to bed with his gun, but doesn't go after the creature.
After the dog. Okay. Sorry.
Well, the next day when he gets up, he can't find Bandit anywhere.
I wonder where Bandit went. Why.
So 2 days later, Newell sees in the paper that there are multiple sightings of a tall humanoid owl-like creature with red eyes and brown wings all around Point Pleasant. Now remember, he's 90 miles away. Okay? And he sees in the paper that all this happened in Point Pleasant the same exact night that he encountered this thing. And then there was a specific statement in the paper from one of the two couples that as they were running from the creature, the group saw the body of a dog laying on the side of the road. When the creature stopped following them and they returned, to the TNT area to see if Mothman was still waiting there, because they're fucking idiots, they said the dog was no longer on the side of the road. So either the dog got eaten or it wasn't dead and kind of walked away and just lived ferally in the woods. And I kind of like my story better than yours, because I think Bandit needs his own story. But you know what? If you want to be a Debbie Downer,
first of all, what a trooper.
You do you, boo.
What a trooper he was. He's like, I'm going to run after this thing. My owner's
got my back, and then he doesn't have my back.
Pussy ass.
He doesn't deserve a dog.
What an asshole. He's like, I'm just going to go to sleep. How do you go to sleep?
Keep my gun here. Anyway, because there were so many experiences with this creature, there was a press conference held. And once the headline hit the newspaper, wait, are you ready for the headline? Couple see man-sized bird ... creature ... something. That's the headline. Okay.
Man-sized bird.
Yeah, this is what we get out of this press conference. It's a man-sized bird or a creature or a something.
Man-sized bird.
And then for the next year, so for the next 12-month period, there's an estimate of over 100 sightings that are reported of this bird / creature / something.
/ creature / bird.
Man-sized bird. This, there's also some unidentifiable reports. meaning like UFO alien activity. So now we're starting to make it so Mothman is like an alien or a UFO.
He's
a
a
humanoid
bird.
bird.
I guess. He's a bird
creature,
alien.
something.
Alien.
So his main description, the main description of Mothman is he's either black, gray, or brown, but no matter what, it's a very dark color. He stands 7 to 8 feet tall with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet and can fly over 100 miles per hour. Sometimes he is described as headless, and people say his glowing eyes are in his chest. And I think that's kind of why the moth thing kind of comes into play, because a lot of times moths have that like pattern on their chest to make it look like they have bigger eyes for predators, shit like that.
Eyes. Yeah.
Anyone who has seen Mothman up close or like basically looked it in the eyes report that they are stricken with extreme fear, no shit, and psychological distress. Again, no shit.
No shit.
They have also said that they feel they are overcome with a sense of pure evil. One more time. No fucking shit.
It's interesting that
he can fold his leathery wings and walk, but it's more of a shuffle, and it kind of looks like a penguin. So good thing he can fly, because otherwise I mean that takes the fear like down quite a bit.
You just see a big man-sized bird just.
Yo, I saw a thing the other day that prehistoric penguins were like 6 feet tall. What if it's like
what?
Hold on. Evolution. What if Mothman is one of these like prehistoric penguins, but he learned how to fly?
Penguins.
What if one of the aliens? Oh my god, wait, here we go. I'm gonna get on my bullshit. What if one of the aliens like sucked up one of those 6-foot penguins and like did experiments to it, and now it can fly? I don't really know why it wouldn't have a beak or why the glowing eyes. I just am putting this together now in my head. So it evolved.
It evolved.
Yes.
So
it was a forcible evolving by the aliens. Cool. I think yes. There's my connection
between aliens.
I'm dying on this fucking hill right now. But when
I love it.
When it takes off to fly, it shoots straight up into the air like a helicopter without needing to flap its wings. Cool.
Okay. So jumps really high.
And then he floats for a long time. He falls with style. I don't know.
I guess.
He's falling with style. It's cool. Okay, so now we're going to talk about John Keel, who's one of the major reporters in the Mothman case. So between November of 66 and December of 67, he met with over 100 witnesses of Mothman and reported on their stories. He compiled evidence of not only Mothman, but also UFO alien sightings and information from just before the first sighting started. So he's the one who kind of ties Mothman to the UFOs and all that shit. So
yes,
yeah,
and the grinning man.
So people were having issues with their TV, like Newell. You know, weird static, weird visions in the static. So like the static would take shape. Strange lights in the sky that were all around the Point Pleasant area. And also people were randomly stalling. So like when they're driving in their car going down Route 62, the one that they like, you know, their car would just randomly stall. And this was all prior to the first Mothman sighting. But then some people were even talking about some poltergeist activity where their doors, like inside their house or the doors to go in and out of their house, were reportedly locking or unlocking themselves, as well as opening or closing themselves. There were also strange noises like bumps and creaks that were being heard both inside and outside the house. And many people reported hearing a random woman screaming in their yard. But there was no woman in the yard to scream. And it's not like, you know, I'm not picturing people on like the edge of a wood line. I'm talking like, you know, picture a farmhouse and they have this huge yard and they just hear a scream and they look out the window and nothing's out there.
It's kind of like, you know how like bobcats kind of
Oh, yeah.
sound like a crying child? So maybe that's like
Maybe.
what
I don't know if
Mothman sounds
bobcats
like,
are out in
you
this
know?
area, but if they are, then that would make sense.
They are.
I'm glad you know these things. Yeah.
Oh, in
I
that
mean, they're by
area?
us, aren't they?
Oh, I
I'm
don't
pretty
know.
sure there was just a bobcat at
Yes.
my in-laws' house.
They're in Connecticut,
Those and
everybody.
those fishing cats, don't they make weird noises too? Yeah.
Yeah. They're super cute, but
That's
like
one of those animals. Why friend shape if not friendly? Like, that's not fair. This is how
yeah,
people like me
I
just
agree.
die. That's how I'm gonna die. Either I'm gonna
I
be like the
agree.
chick from the house in San Diego, whatever that one was called. You know what I'm talking about? Where she was running to get cookies?
The
No.
Winchester house? Oh no. Oh
And
yeah,
she
and
like
the wire.
clotheslined
Oh my
herself to
yeah.
death.
Oh,
The
the
Whaley House,
Whaley
thank you.
house.
So I'm either going to be her or I'm going to be the person going, look at this cute dog that I need to save. And it's a fucking coyote and it just mauls me. Like,
And it's a
that's it.
coyote.
There will be no in between. Okay. So one family reports that they saw a red light hovering or like floating in the sky over the TNT plant one night. And when they went outside to take a closer look, which let's not do that, they heard a weird noise coming from around their cars. They said it, meaning, you know, the human-sized bird creature, something,
The bird.
that it seemed like it had been lying down and rose up from the ground, and it was bigger than a man with terrible red glowing eyes. The family locked themselves in their house while the Mothman shuffled onto the porch. So now we're back to being the 6-foot penguin, and it shuffles onto the porch and starts peering into the windows, all while making sounds of a woman. Which, am I screaming? Are they like sexy sounds? Like, what are sounds of a woman? Okay, that's my first problem.
Are you just like peeking in
Yeah,
like,
is it like
hey,
Anna, the humans?
what's
What are
going
we doing in here? Like, could it be that? I have no idea. But there's sounds of a woman, and then it just vanishes. They heard the wings flapping, but they never saw the wings flap.
Jesus Christ.
That part kind of creeps me out. I won't lie.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna get. This still is somehow kind of sort of related to our friend Mothman just because of the UFO aspect. But we have other friends that now join the chat. So now there's a different reporter named Mary Heyer, and she's working late in her office in Point Pleasant, and she's collecting all of these people's reports just like John Keel was. So this is just another reporter from like another tabloid or newspaper or publication, whatever. Hold on, you drink. And she's like, you know, she's collecting all this stuff on the Mothman, as well as the UFO sightings and lights in the sky and all this stuff.
Right.
And she reports that a man enters her office. He is very short, wearing a black suit with a black tie, weird eyes, thick glasses, long black hair in a bowl-like cut. And he spoke in a low tone with a speech impediment. He asked for directions to Welsh, West Virginia, and Mary said she was absolutely terrified of this man. Apparently, he made her feel as though she was going to, like, imminently die. Woof. She described him as getting closer and closer to her until she was so uncomfortable that she had to get a manager involved. She also said that the, quote, little man saw a pen on her desk, looked at it in amazement as though he had never seen a pen before. Then he grabbed it, ran out of the building laughing. So the men in black don't take notes, apparently. Apparently. I'm just saying. I guess they just commit it to memory because they're fucking amazing. I don't know. Look what I found, guys! Can you believe this shit? It's pen!
I like how he just was like, and then just like grabbed it and
yeah,
like,
oh my god, like picture like a little kid
what are you
finding their first Easter egg, right? Like, oh, I got the golden egg. Cool.
Oh my god.
Okay. So now we're a few weeks later. I don't know what Riggs is barking at right now. I think maybe my package just showed up. But, I mean, he's very excited about Mothman, too. He can't wait.
I mean...
Maybe Mothman's outside. I don't know. Anyway, so a few weeks later, it's December 15th, and people are out and about Christmas shopping, and they're doing their whole thing. And Mary's walking down the street, and she sees the dude. She sees the dude across the street, and he's wearing his black suit and his black tie.
Is he holding his pen?
Okay, like... I have to tell you, there is no note of a pen. But when he realized that she recognized him, he spun on his heel, sprinted to the corner. A black car appeared at the corner. He jumped in, and the car drove off. Later that same day, there's a bridge that connects Point Pleasant to Ohio. And it fell the fuck down in the middle of rush hour. So 46 people died, and 2 bodies were never, they were never able to recover 2 of the bodies. At the same time that the bridge collapsed, there's a family, the Lilly family. They reported seeing 12 lights flashing over their home, and the lights were floating between their house and the TNT area.
Oh my God, no. This is
the first and only time I think I will ever be able to report on this. They immediately moved. Like within days of this happening, the house was cleaned out. They had a new place. They're like, deuces, we're fucking out. I ain't playing this shit no more. Suck it. We're done. Out of here. Everyone else were like, why didn't they just leave? Like, just break the lease. Fuck it. Go move in with your mom. No, these guys were like, yep. Said sayonara. I'm done.
Bye.
Okay.
Wow.
So the week of Christmas, Mary Hire, we're back to her. She's in her office. She's hanging out. She's working really hard. And she's trying not to think about all the crazy shit that's going on. When a short, dark-skinned man wearing a black suit and tie with high cheekbones, narrow eyes, and an unidentifiable accent with super long fingers walks into her office. He asks her about the local UFO sightings. Now, she's super busy. You know, it's the week of Christmas. They're trying to, like, put out a fucking paper. She's trying to do her job. So instead of chatting with this weirdo, she picks up a file that has all of the newspaper clippings from the area, specifically about the UFO sightings and the lights being seen in the sky. So, creepy dude, long fingers, black suit and tie, walks in. This is a different guy. Walks into her office. She's crazy busy. Unreal. And asks him to chat about all of the UFO sightings and lights and shit like that. So she hands him this folder with all these newspaper clippings of everything going on in the area. And he tells her that's not good enough. That she not only needs to tell him more, like actual audibly have a conversation with him, that she also has to go with him and show him the site locations at that moment. And my next note is, yo, fuck this guy. I'm busy. You know? Yeah. So she says exactly what I say, probably a lot nicer because it's the 60s, and then asks him to leave. Later that night, multiple families reported being visited by a man in a black suit and tie with long fingers. And each family he paid a visit to reported feeling uneasy, and every single family called the police. Now, the only thing all of these families had in common is that at some point in the past 12 months, they reported seeing lights in the sky. So here's the best part. He claimed to be a reporter from Cambridge, Ohio. And when someone asked him, do you mean Columbus, Ohio? Because that was, you know, right down the road from where they were over that bridge that fell down. And he told them, I don't know where Columbus, Ohio is. So wait a minute, pause. You are a reporter from Ohio, but don't know where the capital of the state is, even though it's like a mile down the road. For fuck's sake. Like, I don't understand. I like the Men in Black in the movie with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones so much better than these guys. These guys are stupid. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We don't know what a pen is. We don't know Columbus, Ohio. Like, I'll tell you, I don't think I could show you.
He was excited about his pen.
Yo, this pen, it was one of those milky pens. He was getting ready to go do tattoos with all of his friends. Oh my God, the glitter ones. Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so now the cops are getting called all over the place, and they don't find this guy. So they're like, on a wild goose chase. The second dude with the fingers, no one can really tell if he's affiliated with Mothman or if he's a Men in Black. But one theory is that Mothman could have been a shapeshifter and this guy could have been Mothman, and that's why he didn't really get the whole concept of things and places, and he was so he gave people such an impending doom type feeling. So like maybe that was the translation. It's a thought.
Okay.
After 1967, Mothman sightings decreased almost to nothing. And many people started speculating about what Mothman could actually be. So here are the quick theories. He's either a heron, a pelican, or a pterodactyl. We jumped.
Or a pterodactyl.
Big jump.
That's good.
He could be a winged human.
Okay.
A sandhill crane from Canada. He could be a shape-shifting owl, probably a barred owl. And the reason they say barred owl is because of when light reflects from a barred owl's eyes, it reflects red. Other species of owl are different. Like it's a different color, like an orange or a yellow.
Yeah, because apparently a barred owl is it shapeshifts.
Well, I mean, every alien story has an owl somehow involved, which is crazy.
Every story has an owl that you're blaming.
But barred owls don't live in this area or fly through this area. And all of the owls that do live or like habitate in or around this area wouldn't have that red reflective eye. It would be a different color. Another one is that it could be a thunderbird. So a thunderbird I'm going to cover one day, but that is it's a bird from like Native American folklore. From like I believe it's the Shawnee tribe or one of the tribes from like the Ohio area. Mm-hmm. So that kind of checks.
I remember.
It's also been compared to as Owlman, who was an identical creature seen in Cornwall, England 10 years later in the 70s. Some say it was also an angel or a demon. Or it could also be a man in a Halloween costume jumping out at people in cars.
And just takes off magically.
Or our newest theory is the 6-foot prehistoric penguin that was abducted by an alien and somehow genetically mutated.
And they
can fly with red eyes. So that's my new theory. I'm going to add that to the list. It's definitely something we're going to simmer on.
I feel like that theory checks out a lot more than some of the other ones you mentioned. So
no,
just gonna go
it's a pterodactyl or a prehistoric penguin.
Yeah, because
excellent.
Exist,
yep, I'm glad we're here. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so now the people of Point Pleasant have like taken Mothman to heart. Like this is their mascot. And they have a museum that's dedicated to him. It's located at 400 Main Street. You can go there all year round. It has a $5 admission. The museum also offers tours, an escape room, and a Mothman-themed mini golf course. I think that's exciting. I would go there. And this is my absolute favorite part. Every third weekend of September, and I'm so pissed that we missed this. I mean, I'm pregnant anyway. We wouldn't have gone, but maybe next year. They hold a Mothman festival that lasts the entire weekend. So they have guest speakers. There's a 5K. I won't be doing that. They have specialty vendors. They have a hayride that takes you to notable points around town. And then there's a ton of cosplay. So this has been described as a paranormal conference, Comic-Con, and street fair all in one. And that, my friends,
love that.
Is everything about the Mothman. Yeah, I would go to West Virginia for that. I'm not going to lie.
I love Mothman.
I don't think I'd go there for
I
many
love
other
Mothman.
things other than...
No, and apparently they have Mothman like themed.
I saw
food
one
and stuff
billboard. It
in
had
the
a
area,
Mothman pancake.
like
yeah.
yeah, and like there's a
No
Mothman like
fucking way.
pizza
Yeah, let's
that they
go.
can make.
Wait,
And
do they have
like
to
have
put olives on it to
yeah,
make it
we
black? Because
gotta
then I'm kind of
go.
out.
No, not all over, but like yeah, for like wings and eyes and
Oh, I'll do
peppers for
peppers.
the eyes
That's
and
fine.
stuff. But you know.
Oh my god, yeah. So let's start planning that.
Yeah.
That'll be next year's road trip.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I love it.
So
I love
much fun. So happy Halloween. There's your cryptid for the day.
I love it. I love Mothman. I'm glad you covered him because I was like, we've got to do Mothman.
Yeah,
he's like
he's
our
definitely
favorite.
one of my favorites. Him and Nessie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nessie's great.
I think Nessie is I think I've said this before too, but you know how everybody's like, why are there no ghosts of dinosaurs? That's what I think Nessie is. I think she's a ghost.
That's
yeah,
a great
and that's
theory.
why it takes forever to see her, and like, you know, you can kind of be like, oh, it's a stick, it's a this, it's a that. No, I don't like that story. I like that it's a ghost. Yeah,
it's a ghost.
At least I didn't say aliens this time. Mark it down. Just say.
Right.
Okay, your turn. Tell me a story. Oh,
my turn. So we're staying in Connecticut again. And we're going towards the bottom. So if you guys have ever heard of, or and again, if you're in Connecticut, you've heard of Greenwich,
I got lost there.
Okay. So this is where we're heading for this story. And the story takes place, or at least what I'm going to talk about takes place on Mischief Night. So perfect Halloween type of story. It's not a great story. It's murder, but
there's a murder in Greenwich.
There's a murder, which actually is one of the documentaries that you can watch on this.
And that's Mischief Night's the night before Halloween, right? Okay, I'm back.
Night before Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to talk about Martha Moxley for a little bit. And if you've heard of this case, you know that it's kind of a mix between solved, unsolved. And we'll talk about why. So Martha was born August 16th, 1960. And her family moved from California to Greenwich, Connecticut. Now, in 1974, this happens sometimes, especially with people who have the big timey like Wall Street type of jobs, because Greenwich is not that far from
No, it's a good
New
train
York,
ride.
so you can take the train in and everything. So that's why when you're like, wait, California to Greenwich, why? I've heard people do that a lot, especially when it comes to city jobs. So
yeah,
John, her father, worked in Manhattan.
There you go. Checks.
There it is. Dorothy, her mom, just stayed at home, and she had an older brother, John. They moved to Bellhaven, Greenwich. Now, if you don't know anything about Bellhaven, I'm going to tell you.
Houses are,
it is a gated community with mansions. It is a very rich community, and it's almost like I actually put a map up for just to kind of see. It's kind of almost like an island.
Ooh.
Like it's at the tip, and it's kind of like surrounded by the water, the sound, and it's very, very wonderful, beautiful. I tried to look up facts about it, but it kept taking me to, do you want to buy a house?
I would love
to.
Now, like, if you join our Patreon, you can help us make this dream a reality.
I mean,
$5 a month.
It's a lot of
money. We're
going to
need a lot of you to sign up, though.
We're going to need a lot of Patreons.
Just saying.
So Martha was very popular, very friendly, smart. She was athletic. She was just the total package, all in one. Pretty, everything, you know. Now, her family lived across the street from the Skakel family. Now, Rustin...
Wait, I'm sorry. Okay. There's a lot happening in what you just said. So
there is a lot
What's
happening.
Their name? Skeetball? Skakel. Like a cankle, but with a skate on it? Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's one. And this kid's name is Rustin.
Rustin. No, this is the father, Rustin.
Owen.
Yes.
Rustin.
Rustin. It's dumb.
Oh, hello, my name is Rustin. I live in Greenwich.
He is the brother of the late Ethel Kennedy,
This guy's a
who is
Kennedy?
the widow of Robert Kennedy. Yes, this is where the story gets
Oh my
interesting.
goodness, a Kennedy affiliation, and you've
Mhm.
only been talking for like 6 minutes. This is amazing.
Uh-huh. So, Anne, the mother of the house, she
Oh,
died from cancer 2 years earlier. So, the sons that were in the house were Tommy, 17, and Michael, 15. They also hired very quickly a live-in tutor, and we'll talk about him in a second because that's very weird and
yeah,
very
that is very
Greenwich-y. Like,
Greenwich-y.
oh, I need a live-in tutor. I need a tutor, and he needs to live with us. Get out of here! Don't live with me. Get out of here. So we're going to fast forward then to October 30th, 1975. So about a little over a year that Martha and her family moved to
This is
this
all while
particular
Mothman was
area.
happening too. Fun. It's all the same time period. It's
Yes.
amazing. Look at our
It's
timeline.
it all
Happy
connects. It's
Halloween.
all there.
It's your treat.
Martha and her friends were going to the Skakel house to celebrate Mischief Night, hang out, have some underage drinking, the
Can I ask
whole
one more
bit.
question? Because now I'm confused. Why are they the
Sure.
scapegoats and not the Kennedys?
Because he's related to Ethel, but Ethel is married to
Back. Okay.
Robert.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So we're married and
So,
this is a Kennedy brother-in-law. I'm back. Okay. Sorry. I'm
yes,
pregnant and my
this
brain
is a
doesn't work. Just go with me.
no, it's just but so there is that
Okay.
connection. There's the
Okay.
Kennedy
Cool.
connection. So 8:45, Martha and her friends head over to Tommy and Michael's house. It was suggested that Tommy, 17, Martha again is only 15 at the time, had a
Oh.
crush on her. And she didn't really reciprocate feelings for it, according to her diary, which was later found. And actually, it was mentioned that during that night, he attempted to kind of like
Ew.
touch her, get to like touch her leg, and she continued to be like, "Fuck you, fuck you." So
I have a lot of
it's a
problems with
little,
this. Okay.
yeah, I do too. So 9:30, Michael decided to go to his cousin's house, and he invited
Okay.
Martha to come because now he's Martha's age, so we maybe think he has a crush on her. So he's like, "Hey, you wanna come with me?" And she's like, "No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
None of
home."
this
Okay,
seems
okay.
kosher. I'm sorry.
No, so she kinda, again, was like,
Follow
"I'm
your
out," but
intuition, ladies. Good job.
right. Now, the next morning, because there's a gap
Okay.
of time, Martha's mother didn't find her in the house. She tried to stay awake because she's like, "Okay, she's past curfew," but she fell asleep, and she's like, "Okay, she must have come home." She didn't come home. So now Martha's mom's freaking out and is like, "Okay, we got to figure out." She's calling her friends. Martha, her body is found beneath a tree in
Nope.
their backyard.
I hate it.
So it was also clear that someone had dragged her there, and there's a lot of evidence to show that she was dragged, and not just that was where
I
she
don't like
was
it.
killed. Her pants and her
It
underwear were pulled down, but there was no evidence of a sexual assault.
okay. I still don't like it, but at least she has
Um,
that.
and it was said she was beaten
Oh,
to death.
honey.
And but we're going to talk about the
Okay.
murder weapon. So, first there was blood found in the driveway, more blood found. So clearly it's a drag thing. So someone attacked her almost like she was on the run, so she was trying to run away. And then finally they killed her and then they moved her to the tree. So perhaps the pulling the pants down was a way of them trying to throw people off. Again, it's the 70s. It's a very rich town. Maybe they're
Why would
thinking,
that
"Oh,
make
I don't
it
know,
better? Like, why does that make it better? I feel like that makes it
it
worse.
doesn't make it
Like
better."
what
No,
kind
it
of
makes
red
it
herring is
worse.
that? I don't get it. Oh.
It makes it worse. And but I think that maybe the person, for whatever reason, was like, maybe I'll throw them off.
Well,
I don't
you
know.
suck.
So she was beaten to death with a golf club.
Oh my God.
Now
What kind of golf club?
The golf club was broken into multiple pieces. So yes. So this is how anger-filled this attack was. There were 4 pieces total, but 3 pieces were recovered.
Where's the 4th piece?
The handle was never recovered. Like, even to this day, never recovered. The clubs, when they came to investigate it, were from a set of a ladies' golf club, golf set, monogrammed with Anne Skakel's name. So they came from the Skakel residence.
The Kinkle lady did it.
Yeah, well, she's
that
dead.
does suck.
Those are her golf clubs.
So. Okay.
She
did.
So. Now,
okay, maybe she didn't do it.
She did. So I watched the documentary, or one of the docuseries, and years later they actually reconstructed the crime scene. So to kind of see, like, okay, one piece is here, one piece is here, so they can kind of get a better view of, like, like when it was cracked in half. Because the final blow was they stabbed her through the throat with it.
Girl,
and that's where
you
it ended.
need to put a warning on this shit. Like, how do you...
Sorry. Well, I paused. I should be more clear. Instead of pausing. Instead of pausing for myself, I should have been like,
holy shit. So
all right, when next time I have something. I think that's all I got for this. I think that's the only wow fact.
Okay.
I think that's the only wow fact.
Okay.
So they also consulted with Henry Lee, who is a famous medical examiner. He does
I
blood
thought he was
splatter
from Virginia
and stuff like that.
Helped in the Constitutional Convention. But okay, keep going. He was from Virginia anyway.
So he said that the way that, again, how she was found, the way that everything was displayed, this had to have been a frenzy killing. And it's suggested, because of the placement, because of the up close and personal, it's likely this is someone she might have known.
I'm going to cover my neck really quick because I am traumatized. Like,
now it's all So because of the weapon, they were like, all right, let's go check in with the residents, to be like, hey, are you missing something? Because we found it. Rustin allowed them to do a quick search of the residence, but police never obtained a search warrant.
Okay, but they had permission, so it's not like they did it.
But they didn't do a thorough search.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because he was like, "Oh, come on in. You can come on in." And then they kind of like breezed through. We're like, "Yep, that's definitely the golf club set. That's definitely okay." And then they kind of walked out and never got.
Oh my God.
Another search. Because this is also when, after Tommy and Michael were both questioned, their alibis were confirmed. Tommy said he was with the live-in tutor. They watched TV. He then went to bed. Michael comes home at 11:30 with friends, and then he goes straight to bed. So that was confirmed. But then after that, the father's like, "Yeah, we're not going to cooperate anymore.
We did our part.
We're not doing this questioning." Yeah. So now, the questioning he also refused, because Michael eventually had to go to some kind of mental health school, which I'll talk about. And he was like, "No, I'm not giving you his records. I'm not giving you shit, because we're not helping you with this. Like, no, you interviewed them once. We're done. Get a search warrant." They never did. Now, Ken Littleton is the live-in tutor. He started as the tutor only hours before the murder took place. He literally walked in the door, started his job, and then this whole fucking ordeal happens. So it's a little suspicious.
And this other kid just hung out with him all night? This new human
Apparently,
is in my
yeah.
house. He's supposed to be my
Apparently,
tutor, and I'm just gonna
I'm
chill?
just gonna I'm just gonna hang out with him, and like that's
Yeah, I don't
also
like that.
weird
I'd be
because
like, "Cool story,
you're
bro. I'll see you tomorrow when you have to tutor me."
right. And this is the thing where the alibi was confirmed because Tommy's like, yeah, we watched TV together and then like whatever. So the two of them were in the house though. They had access
Okay.
to the house. Now, the lack of the warrant and the family being uncooperative led some people to assume, well, they're Kennedys. So they got
That's
special
fair.
treatment. So the cops are a little bit scared to go after them and whatever. So there were people of interest. The cops even said they were suggesting, well, maybe it was people who came on the train and
Like
like and I'm like,
Velisca? No, I don't think
I
that's the
don't
thing.
think like I don't know. And it's a gated community, okay? Like you can't get in unless you talk to the
In
person
the
in the
box.
window and you say, I live here or I know where I'm going type of thing. So the fact that this could be a completely random, like, oh, some random kids were around on mischief night and they just happened to get
I
in,
don't
I,
like
I
that
don't buy
either.
it. But
No.
so because of this, the case goes cold because they got nothing. The DNA didn't really there wasn't a lot of advancements at the time, so the police were maybe hoping they can
What
grab
about,
some
like,
stuff.
fingerprints on the
The evidence
pieces?
is all over the
There's no
place.
fingerprints on the
Yeah,
pieces?
see, it if there were, they didn't say that that
Assholes.
was helpful because they're thinking, well, all of the people in the house had access to the gloves,
So,
right? So like they're like
obviously, it
even
was
if
somebody from the Kinkle house.
exactly. So so that's what we think. Now the cops kept saying they continued to kind of look through this case, but the problem is everything led all different ways. They didn't really have any leads. Now everybody else thought, well, it's because the family is super rich, they're going to get away with it. So everyone immediately had their suspicions. It's somebody
I'm
in the
getting, like,
house, which
Murtaugh vibes.
it makes complete
Like, the
sense.
Murtaughs. Like, that's what I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
them. I'm
Murdochs.
getting, like,
Yep.
serious Murtaugh
Hmm.
vibes right now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Mark Furman was an LA police officer and he decided he wanted to write a book on the case. So he retired, did his thing, was like, you know what? He looked into it because it was a pretty big case at the time. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go to Greenwich. I'm gonna interview some people and see what I get. Now, some people didn't want to talk to him.
Don't
We're
blame
like,
them.
fuck you.
You
Which,
are in Greenwich.
okay,
It makes
fair.
sense. Yeah.
Exactly, fair. And you're in a really wealthy community where people sometimes are a little bit like, fuck
Yeah.
you. What are you
You're
doing here?
outside
So
the scope of what is allowed
it's fair.
in my breathing space. Yeah.
Exactly. It's especially for that area. So, um he was able to do an interview with one of the detectives, Stephen Carroll. He did agree that the cops did make some mistakes. Mistakes were made,
Shock.
okay? But no special treatment was given to the family. They just didn't have enough evidence and they never got a warrant. This again is something that like if you look up this particular area and like literally like in Connecticut, like there's Greenwich, there's New Canaan, there's Darien, even Branford. There's very like
Yo.
ritzy areas and cops don't really
Yeah.
do a lot. So when this happens, they're like,
Oh,
"What?"
shit. I
So
have a
I get
protocol?
it. This,
There are things I'm supposed to
we talked
do?
about this.
I
We talked about this with
Yeah.
John Bonet, like there's definitely
Like,
like a
I've
lot of
heard about a
issues
warrant
going
in
on,
the
but
academy, but I have to fill this out? What?
wait, how does this work? I can't just come into the house
I
and
get
just
to carry a gun?
no. Do I exactly.
These
Like that's
handcuffs are not just for my girlfriend?
so
What? I'm telling you, the richer the area, the more, like, comical it can be.
yeah,
Yeah.
it can. So then we have Furman. He did publish his book and it's called
Cute.
Murder in Greenwich. He
I
published
wonder
it
what
in
it's about.
1998. Uh, he publicly named Michael as the prime
Dude, why don't you
suspect.
just put a target on your back and say, "Yo, Kennedy, here I am."
Here I
I
am,
can't
right? Like, he
wait for
was like
this
not only did
slander
he, like
suit. Let's go. Fuck my pension. I don't
right?
need retirement money.
Right? So,
I like this guy.
realistically, like, it is baiting it out, but at the same time, this kind of provided more like, it gave more light to the case. So, 3-judge panel approved the request for the grand jury to do an
Cute.
investigation. So, okay. But before we get to
Uh-huh.
the investigation, we have to talk about Tommy and Michael because the two of them, their alibis sometimes changed throughout the time.
Ooh.
So Tommy says he was at home with the tutor. Okay. Michael says he was with his cousins who
Okay.
confirmed this. Now, then it changed. Michael said an alibi he had was he claimed he was window peeping and masturbating in a
Ew.
tree beside the Moxley
Ew!
property from 11:30 to
Wow, it
12:30.
took him that
So
long?
he timed it. And or maybe he just did it a long time, like,
Hasn't he heard
many
of
times.
chafing?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe he had
Yeah,
his little
right?
bottle of
It
spermicide
now,
lube.
I I
Terrible
I
movie.
mean I mean, ask
Oh
Diddy
my
for
god,
that
Costco
one,
does
so
not carry baby oil, guys. Don't ask them. They don't have
they
it.
don't.
It's fine.
So, because this was one of the alibis, he's like, "Oh, from 11:30 to 12:30." So, he came into the house and went to bed at 11:30. So then either he snuck back out and went to the property to in a so it's very confusing because everyone's like, "Wait, so you're admitting to that?" First of all, why
Like, I
would
know
you
they
admit
didn't
to
have the
this?
internet, but you didn't have, like,
Second,
a fucking Playboy in your room? Dude, you have a highlight reel.
like you're just gonna window peep?
Why?
Like you're window peeping? And at that point, she was already dead, so it's not like he was watching
Ew,
her.
what
Like
was he
the timeline
watching
puts
then?
her
The cat?
I don't
That's
know.
bestiality, Randall!
Ugh. I mean, maybe mom
Ooh.
because
Oh
she
my
doesn't have a
god.
sister. Or who knows? But like, what? First, I why
There's a lot
anyway.
going on.
And
Wait, so if he's in a tree rubbing one
reports
out
also,
at, like, 11 o'clock at night, 11:30,
yeah,
whatever time it was, didn't he see,
right,
like, a dead fucking body?
a person, right? You would think. And they're like, he's like, no, I was just in a tree. Okay, the backyard tree because that's where she ended up. No, I was in
Is
another
this the
tree
kid
on the
with the
property.
special school? Okay.
Yeah,
I I just wanted to make sure I was
yeah,
keeping it
yeah,
straight.
yeah. Yeah. And this is years later. Like they interview him and he's giving this information and you're like, "You remember?"
You know what I'm like?
You
You're
know,
a
like
moron. Fuck you remember. You're a moron.
I just think to myself, why would you remember something like that
Why would you
unless
admit to that?
you saw
Even
something?
if you did see something.
Agreed. So the grand jury interviewed more than 50 witnesses in connection with the Elon School in Maine. This is a school for troubled youths where Michael
Oh.
attended. And allegedly, he said some stuff
Isn't
about
the
the
Elon
murder.
school like a really like not great place to be?
I don't know. It's for troubled
I feel
youth.
like there's a
I
couple
didn't really look
schools up
into
in
it, but
Maine that
maybe it's
like, Paris Hilton or
probably
somebody like would not want to be sent to even though they were probably sent to something like that. One of those not
right.
great
It's
places. Okay, I'm sorry.
s- so a couple of 50 people total that were interviewed. Enough evidence was given by this testimony that they wrote up an arrest warrant for Michael. So, in January 2000, okay? She was killed in
Oh my
75.
god.
So 2000, he was arrested and charged with her murder. May 2002, the trial was held in Norwalk, so
Okay.
it's a couple, out of
Yeah,
Greenwich,
you
makes
don't want to
sense.
tamper with the
And
jury
it took
pool.
4
4 weeks.
weeks.
Okay.
During the trial, 2 former students testified Michael had confessed to the murder and bragged he was gonna get away with it because,
It
quote,
took
"I'm
you
a
25
Kennedy."
years to get the gumption to see that. You should go to jail too. That's what
Right.
obstruction of justice.
Well, this is when he went to the troubled youth school, so when he was in high school. So maybe he went like, right after, because he
Yeah,
was
but the fact
15.
that they didn't say anything to
So
anybody for all those years, that's what I mean.
oh,
That's
I
what I'm
agree. No, no,
saying.
I thought you were
No.
talking to him. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I
there's a
agree with you.
problem.
Like,
That's an
fuck
issue, and
that,
I
right.
don't like it. Yeah,
I agree. So the jury took 4 days to deliberate, but they
good.
found him guilty, and he was sentenced to 20 years
Okay.
to life. But the story doesn't end here because we
Of
have
course we
appeals.
do, and he's a
You know how that
Kennedy.
goes. So, yes, and that's why if you look at, like, you go back and you look up, like, Skakel trial during that time, there's all of the like, this was huge, like, around that area, like, you knew about this was happening,
You
and you're
grew
like,
up
"Oh,
around
shit."
there, didn't you? Like, you
Despite
so, like, do you oh,
Yeah,
you were
so
in oh,
this
the
was
2000s. Yeah, you were around for
papers.
that.
This was these were in the papers, everyone was talking about it because it was a case that people knew about, like, like, it was in the '70s, so, like, people knew, and now that this whole thing was coming to light, they're like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense that he did it."
Mm.
Okay.
You masturbate in trees.
Despite the appeal process, in 2007, Connecticut state judge rejected Michael's new bid for criminal trial because he said he had evidence that 2 Bronx teenagers came into the neighborhood and did this crime. However, the evidence wasn't tangible because, again, it's a
Thank you.
gated
It's like
community, okay? You can't this is
2
not like the other side of the tracks where, like, "Oh, the railroad goes right through oh, you could
That's
just
like a
jump right o" No,
45
this is
minute to an
not that, like, if
hour,
you
and you have to go up the like,
train
if
ride.
you're driving, that's the
Yep.
cross Bronx, there's always traffic, there's always there's no fucking way 2 guys from the Bronx were just like, "Yeah, let me stumble upon
And
this
what
gated
why this
community in
neighborhood,
Greenwich, Connecticut, find this one bitch, and stab her with a golf club out of somebody else's house."
right? And if you like I said, if you look at the map of it, it is at the tail end, like, surrounded by the coast. Like, it literally is like a little so why pick this neighborhood? Because this is not the closest to New York. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. And the judge said, "It
For
doesn't make
that,
any
you could
fucking
just go
sense
to
to me." So
Fifth
he
Ave
tried
and
to
take some,
appeal.
like, hoity-toity bitch's mink coat off of her. Like, that's an
Thank
easier f
you.
it's a
And it's
subway ride.
closer.
Yeah, that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
You
So,
dumb.
like, it does. And the judge said the same thing. So in 2007, he was like, "Uh-huh, good try, not today." However, in 2018, Skakel's conviction was
Why?
overturned. Apparently, they said, there wasn't a lot of evidence, or the evidence didn't necessarily point directly to him. It could have been circumstantial. He
Not
served 11
enough.
years, and in 2020, state prosecutors announced he would not be put
Get
on
the
trial
fuck
again.
outta
So
here.
the charges have been dropped. So, so today it's not technically unknown because everyone's like, "Oh, it's got to be Michael because he had a crush on her. He was trying to, masturbate in her tree or whatever the fuck." He was jealous of his brother, so it makes
I was
sense.
gonna
Like,
say
all of
you
that
brought
makes
up the
sense.
brother, though,
However,
before, so, like, we gotta come back to him.
right. Now Tommy continued to say, "I have no like, literally, she left, I watched her leave, and I went inside." And okay, like, I don't think it went any further with questioning him on that, but I also think that he never opened his mouth and said, "I fucking killed her," like
Yeah.
Michael did. So that's kinda where they left him. Now, many suggest it wasn't Michael or Tommy, but it was the live-in tutor, Ken Littleton.
Why? He just got there that
And
day.
here's right. Now, here's a little bit of issue, okay? Because as I'm watching the docuseries, I'm like, there's some things that, okay, makes a little bit of sense timing-wise, but it also doesn't. But he had a troubled past, he had psychotic tendencies, and he had access and the opportunity. see this girl.
But he was
Like,
watching
I don't know.
TV with the brother Tommy, I thought.
Apparently. He was also kicked out of the Skakel house later on, like years later, and eventually arrested for robbery and possession of cocaine. So people suggest, oh, he's got this checkered past. He then continued his checkered ways. His ex-wife even said like he called her, left messages about the murder or about her. And then but also his ex-wife was like, and he threatened to kill me. So I you know, it's so the guy's all over the place. The problem I found with that theory is, what is his motive? Like, you know, like what's the motive? You happen to see this girl with these two kids that you just got the job, and you know he's making bank. Okay.
Live-in
He's a
tutor.
tutor. He's making bank.
Yeah.
So why jeopardize that? And why?
I mean, other than him
why?
having like a psychotic break and like taking out his frustration with his ex-wife on her, but like something has to trigger that.
He wasn't married at the time. Like, he wasn't married. He was like in his 20s.
Not even, that really doesn't make sense.
Later on is when people were like, well, he had psychotic issues. He had problems with drugs and alcohol. And then once, for whatever reason, the Skakels threw him out as a tutor. He eventually then, like months later, got into some shit. So they're suggesting, well, maybe he had guilt over this. And I'm just like, we technically at this point, it's not really known what happened. And I don't really know if we're going to get a firm answer, but people have speculated. Again, Michael had the opportunity. They go with the motive of he was jealous. His older brother and her were like, you know, she was kind of pushing away his you know, but maybe that kind of seemed to the younger brother like, maybe she's into that, like, oh my god, my brother's gonna get, you know, and I have a crush on her. I don't know, but those are the three major suspects I can
Where was
I
the
can
dad?
see. And as of I apparently either out of the house or like I think probably working, because in order to, I mean, you have to have a really crazy job. I think he wasn't home because he basically, as far as I got with all of the thoughts and like everything that I was going through, he kind of seemed like he had other kids. So these were his youngest kids. His older kids were elsewhere, but it seems as though his wife passed and he was kind of like, I don't know what to do anymore. So he kind of just,
I don't know. I my brain went to Lifetime movie,
like just let them do
where
whatever.
like, you know, the whole family's obsessed with the girl across the street and some small little town.
No, I honestly, it seems weird, but I could totally buy that. But like, I think he was just kind of like, I don't know how to father, and like, I don't know what to do.
Okay, well,
so yeah,
I hate it. I really hate it. The Kinkles suck.
I know. Yeah, and Ethel recently passed, so like, that's their connection to the Kennedy family. So like, the Skakels, I bet
the Kennedys are like Kinkles who
again alive. They're who the hell is this? Who
the hell are these people? Fucking
they have enough. Yeah, they have enough shit. You could do like a whole fucking 3-hour Patreon on just there was like one
sister that they like really fucked up. I think I heard about her on Wine and Crime.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, the Kennedys are they're like the Henry VIII of America. So it's still just every time there's just always another fucking skeleton. We would definitely put that behind Patreon because I don't want them like hearing what we have to say.
Oh yeah, that's literally like we can be like,
oh my god, like in John Bonet, allegedly. What was the allegedly count? 42.
Oh my god, that counter. I think we did like 30. I think it was like 35 to 42 times we said allegedly in that Patreon episode.
Yeah,
so
I'm not dealing with the brother. Sorry. I think we said it a lot for the Murtaughs too.
I did, because I think that like Buster was like
suing Netflix. Suing Netflix. Obviously he's going to come after us, our little tiny podcast, indie podcast.
our little podcast and be like, I'm suing you. We'll be like,
Here,
with
do you want
what?
my
Like
Yeti?
what?
Here you
Take our
go. You can
microphone.
have it. It's
Take
fine.
my microphone.
You're gonna get really far with it. Throw it at him.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. So what did we learn? I learned that we can still come up with new theories.
Your theory.
To very old folklore.
Yeah.
And it's
and crimes. And crimes.
Yeah, no, I think we're doing really good. And I think more people should listen to us because we have these phenomenal ideas. And
yeah, I mean, where else are you going to get this kind of content?
Who else would have thought of a 6-foot prehistoric penguin being abducted and genetically modified by the aliens? I really do take everything and put it back to aliens or the Titanic. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, but let's be honest, your theory on that, like half the ones that you're like, people suggested it's this. I'm like,
I think this time I'm onto something. Like,
I don't think that someone could mistaken a crane for like, oh, it's Mothman. And
how
it's
is
like
a crane humanoid?
No, I don't.
Where are the red eyes? Come talk to me when you figure that out.
Not. A barn owl? Yeah,
no,
I don't.
It's not a
think
barn owl.
So.
No,
it's too small.
No,
but it shapeshifts.
I've also learned don't stab people with your dead mom's golf club because that is rude and we don't approve it.
Allegedly.
Don't do that.
No.
Allegedly don't do that. Well, no, don't do that. But like the alleged copy paste where it's supposed to go. You know what I mean.
You know what we're saying.
Yes, we love you very much. Happy Halloween. Make sure you're following us on all the social medias. If you want to go join our Patreon page so that we can go buy a house in this gated community that we'll probably move right the fuck out of because they're going to like get their pitchforks and torches after us.
They're going to be like, these witches moved in.
I got my salt and my sage, bitch. Come at me, bro. Okay, so join our Patreon or go buy some merch. You can find all that on our website, deathbeforebooze.com. You can also find all the pictures and sources from our talks today there. And otherwise, you have the happiest Halloween. Stay safe. Don't go near golf clubs.
Happy Halloween.
Make sure you check your candy because listen to last year's episode. That freaks me out. I love you. Happy Halloween.
Love you guys. Stay spooky.
Do.